Welcome, I'm Rob. I just want to get a quick message in before we get started on this video. We hit 1,000 subscribers a couple of weeks back now. I just wanted to put a quick message in to say thank you. I pre-recorded last week's video before we hit the 1,000 and I hadn't really clocked that it was likely to happen, so I hadn't said anything in that one. I've just recorded this video and realised now that I completely forgot to say anything. So before we get started with this video, I just wanted to say a quick thank you to everyone who has subscribed. Obviously, at the moment, I'm quite really focused on BIKC at the moment, and I don't want to interrupt my flow as it is. So I will do something to celebrate. I don't quite know what at this stage, but it's going to be later in this year, December, possibly even January. But big thank you to every single one of you who has subscribed. It's amazing. I never expected to get anything like this. Couple of hundred maybe. Sheffield guys maybe, and I'm blown away. Thank you. Welcome, I'm Rob. You join me at an outdoor track, Parkwood Karting in Sheffield. We've got 2 heats and a final coming up for you. This is a company work social event. There were only 8 of us, unfortunately. It was a little bit disappointing turnout, but we'll see what happens. So we've got off to a good start already. We're keeping up with the driver who started in first place, and they've committed early on the brakes for the hairpin, and I've just gone around the outside. So a nice easy place made up. This is a timed heat though, not really track position. Your fastest lap for this heat, your fastest lap for the next heat, whichever one's fastest sets your position, I think, for the final race. So we've got 10 laps here. They're about 30 seconds, just over 30 seconds. I have been before, and I'll link the video up in the top corner there, and that was back in, well, I went in March, the video came out in April, and that I set a 32.36 second lap time. Now, the thing to note about Parkwood is their timing system, if you're not familiar with it, is, well, useless, quite frankly, useless. You get a printout that contains your fastest lap of each race. I didn't bother getting a copy. Dan did pick up a copy, but I didn't even refer to it for this. It's not really worth it. The timing that you see on screen is based off the camera, so the hundredths of a second that you see will only ever be a 0, a 3 or a 6, because 30 frames per second. The timing is roughly correct, but don't rely on it too much. This is a fun little track, and there had been rain earlier on in the day, and there also was threat of rain whilst we were on track. It was supposed to rain, so we'll see if that does come in a little bit later on. It's taken me a few laps to warm into the track here, actually. I've not done an outdoor track. In fact, this probably was the last outdoor track that I did do. And it's a different driving style, so it takes me a little bit just to warm into it. Throwing the kart around where I need to, I'm just not necessarily using the right bits of the track at the moment. You'll note that down at the bottom hairpin there is a single tyre sticking out of that tyre barrier. That becomes a bit of an issue later on, but for now, we're doing alright. Nobody's coming up behind me, particularly Dan's following me, you just got a glimpse of him there, and nobody's actually passed me, so it's all good signs so far. We're coming up to start thinking about lapping people. We also did have the spinner earlier at the final corner, so that's one pass, but we're passing another now. As I say, there were only 8 of us on track. To be honest, for a track this size, you don't want many more than that, particularly with quite such differences in speed between all the drivers. So I'm just making sure I'm clear there before I throw it into the final corner and try and set myself up for a good run on this final lap. well, not final lap, but this next lap, making sure I'm using all of the track. And then for some reason, my brain's telling me to go right over to the right for this, which isn't what you should do. So stick to the middle, make sure you get those inside tyres. I was doing that pretty much all night, and I really don't know why I was doing that. So this event happened the day after the last video that you saw, or hopefully saw, the last video that was released, which was Tin Tops, where if you haven't seen that, go back and check it out. In the main race for Tin Tops, I got an awful car, and in all honesty, that affected me for this event too. I was still quite annoyed at everything that had happened. Naturally, I'd sort of, when the email chain for this event came out at work, it was like, oh, there's only 8 of you, do you still want to do it? And I think my reply was something along the lines of, it's going to be lonely at the front anyway, so yeah, why not? So we've got a couple of laps left of this Heat 1. And we've got someone facing the wrong way again. I've come to a stop because the marshals, well, not complete stop, but very, very slow, making sure no one's coming up behind me. And the one thing I forgot to do, oh, he's spun again. The one thing I forgot to do is when you sign in on the sheet, always put your name last. Then you're going to start these heats at the back of the grid if you want some fun. Or you can put your name first and just go off into the distance. Through the final corner, there's the checkered and yellow flag, and I give it a cocky little wiggle because of the yellow flag. And that's the end of Heat 1. I was the fastest driver there, although rather disappointingly only a 34.3 second lap. So before we even get back to the pits, let's just jump straight to Heat 2 and see what happens there. So we're on the grid. I'm now at the back because this is now a reverse grid of your qualifying times from that first one. And we're going to wait for the green lights. We've got Dan on our left. Nobody reacts apart from Dan and I. And before we even get to the bottom hairpin, we have passed the vast majority of the grid. Now the kart in front of Dan there is actually a very fast kart. There was, as usual with rental karting, there was disparity between the karts, and that is just what happens, unfortunately. And you can just see the difference in speed. There's obviously a skill issue too. The guy is clearly knows what he's doing. I'm desperately trying to catch up to Dan there. I'm in a different kart to last night. I think Dan's got the same one by chance. They are just whatever order they're parked up in, you then get whichever one. But yeah, I'm desperately trying to get past Dan, and then I'll go after the kart in the front, but by the looks of things, we're not catching him anyway. I had a quick look at Dan there going into that, but that was never on that move. Yeah, great fun little track. Quite technical, but then you've also got that long run down to the bottom hairpin. And for the size of the site that they've got, they've done a pretty good job. Only thing that really, really lets them down is their timing system. They really, really need to invest in that. So we're coming up to lap the first kart already. He's the one who's been having a few issues keeping the kart facing the right way, and I've taken the opportunity of a gap to try and squeeze up the inside of Dan, and unfortunately not able to do anything there. We got past the back marker, and I've got quite a good run, and I'm going to commit into the last corner, side by side all the way through. Possibly a little bit of contact there, but nothing major. Giving him the space on the outside going into the hairpin. He's trying a switchback, and I'm making sure I've got him covered off. I've got past Dan, there's one more ahead. This is only time lapse still, it's not for position yet. But if I catch him, then I know I'm quicker than him. So, another back marker finally done. At the time, I didn't think that one was a back marker, I thought that one was for position. I didn't realise just how far ahead this other guy had got. He's there coming out of the hairpin. Unfortunately, as I say, my line coming into this section, coming out of the hairpin up into this section is just wrong all night, so that wouldn't have been doing me much good. Used a bit more that time, that's better, but then I'm doing this, I'm going out over to the right, and I don't need to. I need to stay in the middle, use that inside apex, and then come through for this. And for some reason, I just wasn't doing it. The rest of my line is pretty much okay, as long as I'm carrying the speed through that bottom hairpin better. But again, I'm heading right over to the right hand side, and then I'm not coming in today. Come round for the final time once again. Yep, I was only second. I have improved my time, but I was only second. That kart was incredibly quick. I think it was the same kart that he then ended up getting for this final, which was announced quite vocally that it was the track record kart. It's the track that the kart that the track record was set in, whereas I'm now going to be in the one that's just in front of me for the next race, because I'm going to start the final in second place. The car at the very front is the very fast one, and he will get that again because he was first, so he gets it again, because you just jump in first, second, third, depending on where you're starting on the grid. Which means Dan's going to now have this car, because he's going to start in third place. I'm going to start in the car directly in front of me now, and we'll see what happens when we line up for the race. We've got 15 laps for this final. Let's see what we do. I've managed to hold off Dan, but this car, I can already tell that you can definitely tell more coming out of this hairpin just how bad this car is. And there you go, I've already noticed it. And the car in front is just going to disappear. Through the technical part, yeah, I can close up, but once you get to opening it up, he's off. And I know I've got no chance of gaining that position back, as Dan has gone for a very naughty move up the inside of me there. I've given him a little tap to tell him off, and I'm gonna not take that lying down, and we'll go equally naughty and just push him out the way and say thank you very much, but actually I'm gonna stay in second for the moment. Obviously that fight has just given the guy in first place the opportunity to just disappear. Look at that gap, that is insane. Now I will add that after this race I did complain about the kart. They were very good about it. They went out and tested it after I explained what I was feeling, which was coming out the hairpin you could feel it the most. It had nothing in the bottom end, and then all of a sudden it would have power. So you had 2 or 3 seconds where you didn't have anything. And they went out and tested it and went, yep, we can feel that. We want it. And they actually took it out for the next group. So they've done the right thing. They've listened to me. I hit that inside tyre that I was talking about earlier. Obviously I know this car is slow, so I am absolutely making sure that I use as much of the track as I can, carrying as much speed and trying to keep the revs as high as I can at any given point. I know that my work is going to be cut out defending from Dan and the guy in 4th place, because that's going to be key. I'm using as much of that inside curb as I can, trying not to hit that tyre that's fallen out. And Dan's tucked himself up the inside there, and I'm still not going to be happy with that. Yep, he's through now. There's no coming back for me. I'm into 3rd place. I expected them to go left on the exit of that, and obviously my switchback has put me on the right. Thankfully I'm still through relatively easily. I do now have the guy in 4th place all over the back of my car, and hence the tucking to try and just get a bit of speed. Obviously I've hit that inside tyre again. Going downhill it's not so bad, but I've got nothing coming up. He's alongside, but I've just about carried enough speed on the exit and kept myself on the inside. I'm safe for another lap. Obviously it's slow out of this as well, so that's another potential place to be passed. Yeah, and he's managed to actually just get the run coming out of that corner. Again, that's slightly uphill there, so that And we've got the spinner again. Does make passing him easier when he's just sat sideways at the side of the track. I'm starting to really get a feel, now that I've got the two in front of me that I really want to try and at least keep up with, I'm starting to really get a feel for what I need to be doing with this car, where I need to be putting it, how much speed to be carrying through each section. If I was in the same kart that I was for the other two heats, I'm pretty sure it was the same car, then I think my lap times would have been in the 32s, but as you can see, I haven't been anywhere near that just yet. Got a bit excited when they got stuck for a little bit there. They're now going in for quite a battle themselves. But I am, as you can see, hanging on. They are not disappearing, and that's purely just by my driving, I think, and I've got that barrier once, that tyre once again, because it just sticks out and you can't see it when you're looking at your apex. You can't see it as you're turning in, and then all of a sudden it's there, and I just kept forgetting it was there. And obviously I'm trying to use as much of the track as I can, carrying as much speed. You're not supposed to drive on the yellow bits there, and I've just kept it on it. Could have used a bit more on the inside there, but using the pit entry, even for that, using the yellow on the exit again, not supposed to use it. You'll now see the marshal has pulled out that tyre. Yay! Obviously I didn't want to use as much curb that time because he was standing there, but next time around, if he's not there, I'll be using it all. I don't use those curbs as much because they are raised. This one's not, so you can use all of that. Last time I was here, I'm pretty sure those tyres were on the gravel, not the track for that final corner. Marshall's not there. I'm using all of that inside curb. But it's now the final lap. 5th place is miles behind, so we're safe in 4th, and unfortunately that's 2 nights in a row where I get given a bad kart for the main race. I was just having a very unlucky week, and this was, as I say, very frustrating, but as I say, I was very impressed with the staff at Parkwood. Marshall I spoke to, he went out and tested it, agreed, yeah, there was an issue with it. The manager then came out, spoke to me, apologised and explained it happens, and I was like, absolutely, 100% understand, it does happen. These are used by a lot of different people and they won't always be the same, and that is rental karting. So I was calm, and that was the important part. I wasn't raging at them, and I didn't carry over my frustrations from last night. But that's it for Parkwood. As always, thank you so much for joining me on my go-karting adventures. If you've enjoyed this video, and again with this new style of commentary again, please do give it a thumbs up, leave any feedback down below. If you don't like this commentary style, let me know. Until next time, cheers!